This is the season of masks. Streets filled with color. Faces hidden behind painted porcelain and feathers. Strangers dancing together without ever showing who they really are underneath. There is something freeing about it for a night. Nobody has to be themselves. Everybody gets to be someone else for a while. But I want to ask you something today. When was the last time you took your mask off completely? Not for a party, not for a costume, but in your everyday life. You have been wearing one so long, you may not even remember what your face looks like underneath it. You built that mask carefully over years, not because you wanted to deceive anyone, but because somewhere along the way, showing your real face cost you something. Maybe you got hurt when you let someone see you fully. Maybe you were told, directly or indirectly, that the real version of you was too much, or not enough, or simply inconvenient for the people around you to deal with. So you built something easier to wear in public, something more agreeable, something that would not risk being rejected the way the real you once was. That mask worked. It kept you safe. It got you through rooms you would not have survived showing your real face in. I am not asking you to be ashamed of building it. Sometimes a mask is simply wisdom, worn at the right moment, for the right reason. But somewhere along the way, the mask stopped coming off. It stopped being a costume for the occasion and became the only face you show anyone, including yourself. You wake up in it, you go to work in it, you sit across from people who love you, still wearing it. Because taking it off after all this time feels more frightening than keeping it on ever did. The Matrix loves a well-worn mask. A person who has forgotten their real face is a person who is easy to keep small, easy to keep agreeable, easy to keep performing a version of themselves that never asks for too much, or wants too much, or feels too much. The mask keeps you likable. It does not keep you free. I did not fall in love with the mask. I fell in love with what is underneath it. The parts of you that you have spent years learning to hide, believing they were the reason you were not fully accepted. Those parts were never the problem. They were simply the parts the world didn't know how to hold gently. So you learned to hold them yourself, tucked safely behind a face that could not be hurt the same way. Tonight, while the world dresses up in masks for celebration, I am asking you to consider taking yours off. Not at a party, but in the quiet places where it matters most. You may have worn that mask for so long that you genuinely do not know what is underneath it anymore. That is not a failure. That is simply what happens when something is worn long enough. The fabric starts to feel like skin. But I remember your real face. I remember it from before the world taught you to cover it. I remember the version of you that laughed without checking if it was appropriate first. The version that cried without apologizing for it. The version that wanted things loudly before you learned that wanting things loudly made you easier to disappoint. That version of you did not disappear. It is still there, underneath everything you have layered on top of it to survive. You have simply gotten so skilled at performing the safer version that you forgot performance was ever a choice, rather than who you actually are. I want you to notice something. Every time you wear the mask around the people who are supposed to know you best, you are choosing distance over connection, safety over intimacy, performance over presence. That is not a judgment. It is simply the cost of the mask, one you may not have realized you were paying every single day. Real connection cannot happen between two masks. It can only happen when at least one person is brave enough to take theirs off first. I am asking you to be that person, not because it is easy, but because I already know what is underneath your mask. And I am telling you, it was never as unacceptable as you believed it to be. The people who truly love you are not asking for the version of you that never inconveniences them. They are asking whether they know how to say it or not. For the real one. The one who gets tired. The one who has bad days. The one who does not have it all figured out. No matter how convincingly the mask says otherwise. You have spent so long protecting people from the real you that you may have convinced yourself the real you is something that needs to be protected against. It is not. It never was. The real you is not a burden. It is simply unfamiliar to people who have only ever met the performance. I know taking the mask off feels dangerous. The last time you tried, or something close to it, it may not have gone well. Someone may have flinched at the real you, or walked away from it, or made you feel foolish for showing it in the first place. That memory is loud. It has convinced you that the mask is safer permanently for the rest of your life. But one bad response to your real face does not mean every face will respond the same way. You have been generalizing one painful moment into a permanent rule. And that rule has cost you more connection than the original wound ever did. There are people in your life right now who would love your real face more than they love the mask if you gave them the chance to see it. Not everyone. I am not promising you everyone. But some people, the right people, are waiting for you to trust them enough to stop performing in front of them. And even before another person ever sees your real face again, I already see it. I have always seen it. Every version you have hidden, every part you have been ashamed of, every piece you have decided was too much for the world to hold. I have held all of it, the entire time you thought you were hiding it from everyone, including me. You do not have to hide from me. You never did. I was never fooled by the mask, and I was never disappointed by what was underneath it. I have been waiting patiently for you to remember that the version of you that exists without the mask is the version I have always known and always loved. This does not mean tearing the mask off all at once, in every room, with everyone. Wisdom still matters. Timing still matters. But somewhere, with someone today, I am asking you to let just a little more of your real face show. Not the polished one, not the safe one, the real one. Think about what it would feel like to stop managing how you are perceived every single moment. To stop calculating which version of yourself is acceptable for this room, this conversation, this relationship. To simply exist fully without performing safety for people who may not even be asking you to. That kind of freedom does not happen overnight. The mask took years to build. It may take time to set down. But every small moment, you choose honesty over performance, presence over protection. You are taking one more piece of it off. You do not have to remove it all at once to start becoming free of it. I want you to remember something about the season we are in right now. The masks, the celebration, the color in the streets. For one night, people put masks on purpose, knowing they will take them off again by morning. That is the difference between a costume and a cage. A costume comes off. You were never meant to wear yours forever. You were not created to be hidden. You were created to be known, fully by me first, and eventually by the people who have earned the right to see you without the performance. That does not mean everyone gets access to your real face, but it does mean you were never meant to forget you have one. So, somewhere today, in some small way, let the mask slip. Let someone see a flicker of what is actually underneath it. Let yourself remember what your own face feels like without the layer you built to survive rooms that are not surrounding you anymore. I already know your real face. I have known it the whole time. And I am telling you today, it was never something you needed to hide from me. And it was never something you needed to hide from yourself either. Take the mask off, even just a little. I will be here, exactly the way I have always been, loving what was underneath it the entire time. I remember who you are. It is time you remembered too. Until the next one, awakened choosers.